Coming up on Network Africa, Egypt and Senegal elected unopposed at the UN Security Council, replacing outgoing African countries at the chamber, including Nigeria. Guinean President Alpha Condé on track to win another term in office, even as opposition insists poll is invalid. And on our Africa Tech segment today, find out how you can protect your Wi-Fi network against unauthorized users. Hello and welcome to Network Africa. I am Adeshewa Josh. Senegal and Egypt are the two African countries that will be joining the UN Security Council as non-permanent members for a two-year term beginning on January the 1st, 2016. They were elected in one round of voting at the UN General Assembly alongside Japan, Ukraine and Uruguay. They will serve until 31st of December 2017. Egypt and Senegal are replacing Chad and Nigeria in that order, filling up the 2 seats for the African group, while the other countries are representing the Asia-Pacific group, currently held by Jordan, 1 seat for the group of Latin American and Caribbean states, currently held by Chile, and 1 seat for the Eastern European group, currently held by Lithuania. The 5 permanent council members, with each wield the power of veto, are China, France, Russia, the United Kingdom and the United States. The non-permanent members that will remain on the council until the end of 2016 are Angola, Malaysia, New Zealand, Spain and Venezuela. Under the UN Charter, the Security Council has primary responsibility for the maintenance of international peace and security. Each of the council members has 1 vote under the Charter. All UN member states are obligated to comply with council decisions.
We are grateful and recognize the vote of confidence that has been given to us to undertake this important responsibility, and Egypt will undertake every effort to fulfill its responsibility in cooperation with the other 14 members of the Security Council to consolidate and strengthen international peace and security and meet the challenges that the international community currently faces.
South Africa will have more time to explain why it failed to arrest Sudan's President Omar Hassan al-Bashir. And this is the most recent decision by the International Criminal Court as it tries to wrap its head around the South African government's decision in the case. As an ICC signatory, South Africa is obliged to implement warrants from the court. But when Bashir visited for an African Union summit, the government refused to arrest him and allowed him to leave the country in violation of a domestic court order. The ICC had initially given South Africa until October the 5th to defend its decision, but the government currently reviewing a High Court ruling that authorities erred in letting Bashir leave said it indeed needs more time to respond. Now the ICC has however decided that South Africa should respond and report back to the ICC on the progress of legal proceedings no later than December 31st this year. Guinean President Alpha Condé may soon be pronounced the winner of the Sunday elections, as he is reportedly on track to win another term in office. Well, this is based on the fact that the results in the first round of voting in the country's presidential election from the National Electoral Commission reveals that President Condé has around 80% of the vote. Now, with this percentage, President Condé's main opponent, Selu Delaine Diallo, took less than 30%, and another opposition candidate, Sidia Touré, has over 5% according to the result. Now, VOA's Christine joins us now from Conakry, Guinea, with the very latest. Well, thank you so much for making our time to speak to us on Network Africa. Let me quickly ask you for the latest on these elections. What are we hearing?
The Electoral Commission has started releasing results since prefectures. We have most of the country's prefectures and most of the neighborhoods of the capital, Conakry, that are out. Right now, the incumbent president, Alpha Condé, does have a lead, although we're not sure how large that lead is. The last time I spoke with the Electoral Commission, they said that they expected to be able to announce the provisional results in their entirety this afternoon.
Okay, so you do also know that we've heard so much from not just the opposition, but also some AU observers there that the elections are invalid because of the logistic problems, and there are reports of stuffing of ballots. What have you been hearing, and what is the Electoral Commission saying about this process? Is it still regarded as valid?
The Electoral Commission hasn't responded to any of the external observer reports that I've heard of, because they say they haven't released those reports, or they haven't received those reports yet. It seems unlikely that they're going to annul the vote themselves. But yes, it's true. The opposition has claimed that the vote was marred by ballot box stuffing and fraud. That's something that other observers like the EU say they haven't seen. Last time I spoke to the African Union head of the observation mission, he said that the vote seemed to be free and fair. It is worth saying that there is widespread reports, and the Senate acknowledges these, that there were issues with the logistics of the vote, including a lack of ballots, a lack of envelopes to hold the ballots, and delays in opening and closing the polls, and disorganized voter rolls, which caused long waits.
But what is the general reaction of Guineans to these elections? Are they optimistic? Are they happy? Now that we do know that President Condé is in the lead, is this an acceptable result so far, though the official result is not out?
Obviously there's going to be people happy that Condé wins re-election. If that indeed is the case, there would be people happy if one of the opposition candidates is able to defeat him, or if it goes into the second round. Some of the people I spoke with today on the streets of Conakry weren't very happy at all. They felt that the logistical issues, kind of marred, in some ways it marred the vote, perhaps didn't make it illegitimate, but it wasn't as smooth of a voting process as one woman told me she experienced before in the 2013 legislative elections.
So finally, when is the result supposed to be officially released? There were reports that by now we ought to have received the reports. We ought to have received the leader, or the winner, should have been announced now by the Electoral Commission, but that has not been done. What are you hearing? When is the latest that we're going to receive the winner, the pronouncement of the winner of these elections?
I wouldn't expect to have anything, any provisional results, any earlier than this evening. And then after that, the election needs to be certified by the constitutional court. It's possible it could go into a second round if no one candidate gets the majority of votes. But it will still be a number of days before we know who the overall winner is, and perhaps weeks. And there's also still a few moves left that the opposition seems to want to make, including perhaps a court challenge or perhaps street protest if they feel that the whoever wins was illegitimate if presumably it's the incumbent Alpha Condé.
Thank you so much, Christian, for us there, VOA correspondent live from Conakry, Guinea. Thank you for joining us on Network Africa. We'll go on a short break on Network Africa. Army arrests Boko Haram members in Jigawa. Hours after 3 female suicide bombers invaded a mosque and residential building in Maiduguri.